Hello everyone, this is Metroid Nerd number 9001 and it's finally time for the release of my third hack. This is Super Metroid Pit of 100 Trials. The precursor to this hack was Super Metroid Blue Star, which I released for the Deep Blue contest back last year. That was over a year ago, wow. And then this hack has been in development since then. But this hack was actually in development first, and then I just took part of it that I had already completed and turned it into Blue Star for the contest. But now the entire hack is complete. I'm going to go ahead and start on file 2, just because I guess I have a completed file now. Basically, this hack is based on the Pit of 100 Trials from the Paper Mario series, namely Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario. And this is just Super Metroid, but with the Pit of 100 Trials. There's a lot of things to notice right off the bat, like this hack is very different from other hacks. For one, it's completely linear. There's only one entrance and one exit to every room, for the most part. There's a room counter in the top left, and there's a check mark by that room counter. But what you'll see is that when I go into the next room, the check mark goes away. And what the check mark does is it tells you if you've killed enough enemies to go to the next room. Because the point of the Pit of 100 Trials is to test your combat skills. So, basically, you have to kill a certain number of enemies in every room in order to progress. As you can see, the door unlocked. And there's also a light sound effect that plays. That was originally the only indicator that the door had opened other than the door itself opening. But thanks to some awesome ASM help from my beta testers, I was able to add a lot of new features to this hack that I wouldn't have thought of being possible when I initially made the hack, and only came into being after I started beta testing. Now there's hidden items in a lot of rooms. This is the exception that on most of the hidden paths there are no enemies, but this one is just there to show you, I guess. And this is how you're getting most of your pickups. But like the Pit of 100 Trials in Paper Mario, there are items every 10 rooms, and those are major upgrades. The door locks behind you in every room, so you can't go back. And also I've majorly edited the drop rates of enemies, so that you won't be getting nearly as good pickups for most of them. But also, stronger enemies will give much better rewards than smaller enemies. You're not seeing any drops, you'll probably start seeing some drops now, but you weren't seeing any drops before then because I hadn't taken any damage. You see, the CAC attacks usually always drop big energies or super missiles, but now they're only dropping small energies. The room number increases with every room that we go through. That was quite fun to figure out. I mean, I'm not the best with ASM, which is why I had the people to help me. Like, I didn't write a lot of the code, but I put together the general idea. Okay, this is what I want to do with the code. This is the general idea of how I think it should be done. Like looking at the disassemblies sometimes. But they did a lot of the work, and I want to extend a special thank you to Samrando/Kawi, JDP, and I think it was, Dewey 100, as well as Moore and Binox 50. You'll know Binox from Super Metroid Ascent, which I still haven't finished that series. And you also know Moore from Temple of the Winds, which he's currently remaking with Albert V. You'll remember it from the Berserker contest. And he plans to release it in July, I believe. So get hyped for that and go play that when it finishes, because I think it's going to be really good. I know the graphics are going to be really good. He showed off some of them, and they've been working on the gameplay to make it way better than it was, because both Moore and Albert V know that commend that the gameplay in the original version of Temple of the Winds wasn't the best, and that's because it was super rushed for the contest. But now they've taken a lot more time to go through and fix everything, so it should be a much better hack, and hopefully a really good hack. I'm looking forward to it. At some point, we're also going to get a Metroid Scroll 6 from the Berserker contest we made, or at least fixed up. I have no clue when that's going to be. But for now, I guess we can just sit and wait for that to finish, and I'll be releasing this hack as soon as this video is uploaded, I guess. So if you're watching this hack is public on MetroidConstruction.com. I'll have a link in the description so that you can get to it. And here we reach room 10, our first room with a major upgrade, and one of the few that's actually 100% required to beat the game, and that is the charge beam. This is a really weird room setup, but this is the first thing that I could come up with to make it so that you absolutely had to pick up the charge beam in order to progress, because if you go through a room and you don't pick up an item, you miss that item. So I can't make any ammo required, because if you miss ammo, then you just won't have the ammo for the entire rest of the game. So basically I had to make charge beam required so that if you somehow or purposefully miss all of the items in the game, you can still beat the game by dealing damage to all the bosses and all the enemies that require ammo only to attack. But now just require charge beam. Now this is a suspicious spot on the wall, and there's power bomb blocks. But we don't have power bombs right now. That will be explained later. The room layouts of the first 25 rooms are almost identical to Blue Star. I made a few changes, like you'll notice at the top of this room, there's some green Bryn stars, so I took inspiration from Super Metroid Nature because I really liked the way Jiffy morphed pink and green Bryn star together. So I kind of, I somewhat copied what he did for it by like looking in Smile at rooms in Nature in order to make these designs, but I also just kind of made it my own, tried to make it look cool. I'm working on making my tiling better. I'm trying to be more creative and more like diverse in the way I'm tiling my rooms. Like all of this green stuff wasn't there in Blue Star. It still isn't. I haven't updated it. I probably won't add that to Blue Star because I just think it's kind of unnecessary to do so. I don't know if I'm going to update Blue Star at all, but I'm still going to keep it up because it's its own hack and it's very different from this hack in some ways. Like you don't have to kill all the enemies to progress in Blue Star, and well, that's the main one. And also there's a lot of features in this hack that are completely unnecessary in Blue Star because Blue Star is so much shorter. Now the door is opening way early in this room because typically the bigger the room is, the lower the percentage of enemies that I'm going to require you to kill before you can progress. Smaller rooms and like rooms with significance, like rooms before bosses, I will require you to kill every enemy. But rooms like this that are much bigger, I won't require you to explore every waking corner of the room, because that just gets tedious, especially if there's one enemy in one random one-off corner in the room that you haven't found. Now you don't need to kill it. Although, you do still need to do some exploring. Usually I made it so that the fastest path through the room has enough the door requires the amount of enemies that are on the fastest path through the room. It's kind of like that. Although, not necessarily in every room, because this room has the alternate path with the item on it. So you have to go back to kill enough enemies to get through the door. I'm looking forward to the speedrunning of this hack, because I'm going to ask Saffron to put this on SRC once the hack is released, because I think it'll be really interesting to see how people speedrun this hack, because there was a mild speedrunning community, not really community, but just mild amount of speedrunning around Blue Star, which I really liked, because I was like, hey, Saffron, can you add Blue Star to SRC, and you can see the giant side hopper drop the big energy, because it's a much stronger enemy, so defeating it gives you more. And I started speedrunning Blue Star, and then I promptly gave up relatively quickly because I got annoyed. But two other people, I think it was Desmos and Mr. Guy Average. Mr. Guy Average was also a beta tester for this hack. Nice guy. And he even streamed the hack while doing beta testing, which I greatly appreciated. In general, I enjoy seeing how other people react to the kinds of things I have. It's a good way to gauge live what you do are and are not doing correctly. Because if someone runs into a major problem, you can see how they react to it. And I'm kind of running low on energy. And that's probably because of getting very small amounts of drops from these enemies, and that's my own fault, but I think that'll make the hack much more interesting. I don't remember if I do not remember what I talked about in the Blue Star playthrough, but either way, these pirate enemies are not in vanilla. I think they're the only non-vanilla enemy I have, but they fit in this situation and they seem vanilla enough that it would work. So I thought it would be okay to add them. I'm going to do a hard mode of this hack, like make a hard mode later on, but I wanted to get the regular version of the hack released first. So when I do the version 1.1 release of this hack, I'll add hard mode to it. So, and I plan to do like a relatively extensive hard mode. Like there will be a lot of room design changes and a lot of like enemy design changes, or like enemy placement changes. Enemies with maybe some weaknesses, requiring like different ways of navigating the room, stuff like that. I'm really getting low on energy. But yeah, these rooms are still very familiar, because it's still just Blue Star, but you have to kill a lot of enemies. This room only has 3 enemies, so you have to kill all 3 of them, especially because they're right in your path. So if you skip an enemy, it's really easy to go back unless you fall in the water. But if you fall in the water, then it's pretty easy to find that you can get a missile. Lots of items off the beaten path, not required, but very helpful, especially because of the low ammo drops. Having high max ammo is good, because if you do get into a situation where you have a high amount of ammo as your maximum, then you can use more without running out as easily, even though you're not getting it refilled as often. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense. I don't know. It's also been a while since I've done commentary, just because any of you watching in the future will know that this is during the pandemic, and it's not very fun. Like, my daily routine has changed very greatly since March, and I've made like 1 or 2 videos that involved me talking since then, but not really that much. But still, it's like, I miss school, I miss being able to see people. I have a job now, and I work like almost full-time. But I got a promotion pretty recently, so that was nice. I don't know if I get paid more from it. I hopefully do, but it's a lot more interesting than what I was doing before, because I was basically just cleaning shopping carts for 8 hours a day, and that was awful, to say the least. I much prefer doing this, but I also just kind of got into a bit of like, maybe not really writer's block, because it's not like I stopped making the hack, because like the hack was mostly done in like either March or April. I think it was April when I started beta testing. I might be wrong on that, but then it was just doing beta testing, and then a lot of suggested ASM changes, and it was like I kind of lost the motivation I had to keep working on the hack in a way, which is why it took so long, because I kept thinking, oh, this pandemic is gonna let me have more time to work on my hack, and then I just found myself having 0 motivation to do anything, which wasn't that fun, and it delayed this hack by a pretty good amount, but at least I'm getting it done now. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I guess I've been working more on my videos that don't require commentary, like you've probably noticed, or maybe noticed, I don't know. But I've been doing my Lincolnshire Posey percussion enhancements. And those are fun to work on, but those are also, they're challenging, but they're fun. It's like I'm learning how to use MS Paint, because it's like all of the score editing I'm doing in Microsoft Paint, and I'm definitely going to redo the first one because the first one just looks terrible. But I'm pretty happy with the way it's turning out overall. But it is kind of very different from what I've been doing on this channel. The channel's become pretty unfocused in the past few months, or like the past year or so, because I was doing Mega Man and Bass, and then I got back to Metroid with like Super Metroid Ascent, but then also I was doing Mega Man Rock and Roll, which I still have to get back to, and I still have to finish Super Metroid Ascent. I have a lot of things I want to do. And it's like so much time but so little motivation to do literally anything sometimes. Some of you may know see where I'm coming from with that. Not sure. Either way, we have the Fairy suit at room 25. This is where Blue Star ended, and if anyone was wondering what the item in the orb in Blue Star was, it was the Fairy suit. There was a hole in the ceiling here because this was like pretends to take you up to the surface, but the hack just ends in that room, but now you can keep going. And now all of this is new, unless you're a beta tester or have seen like me. I actually did post a lot of the rooms that I made like either on MetCons or for Room of the Month. So some of these rooms may be familiar to people who are keeping up with that, but like the gameplay aspects of it are new to basically anyone else. And if you haven't been never saw Blue Star, the first 25 rooms were new, I guess. But I don't know. I don't really know who my audience is, because like my audience is super inconsistent. Because like I think at this point I have 56 subscribers, but most of my videos get like 10 views at the most. And some videos like are way more popular than others. It's usually my Metroid videos that are, so I feel like my subscriber audience is mostly made up of MetCons people, which is why I don't get very many views on my videos like Mega Man and Bass videos or my Mega Man Rock and Roll videos. Because it's like very different, and it's like not what they subscribe to my channel for. I don't know. I also don't know my audience because no one comments. Like I get more comments from bots on my videos than I do from actual viewers. And I don't know, I like getting comments because I like actually hearing from my viewers. I think the most recent comment from an actual human was on my Civ 6 Diplomatic Victory speedrun. There was this guy who was like, how can you possibly consider this to be a world record speedrun? You gave yourself all these starting conditions. And then I responded, it's like, dude, this follows the rules on the speedrunning website. I'm allowed to do this, and they accepted the speedrun, and I haven't gotten a response. I don't know if I ever will, but somehow that video is like massively spiked in views. It's like at 300 somehow. It's become like the second most popular video on my channel. Why am I talking about my channel when I should be talking about the hack? I guess because I haven't been doing things on the channel very recently, or very much. So I guess it's like a nice catch-up period to get my viewers updated on what I've been doing. I don't know. I've been doing this. I've been rereading Harry Potter very slowly. It was very fast at first, and then very slowly. Like, I reread the entire first book in a single day. I reread the second and third books over in 2 days each, I think. And then I've been stuck on the fourth book for like a month, just because I haven't had the motivation to read things. I guess the moral of the story is I've been very unmotivated to do anything. Except, like, my job, I guess. Even though, actually not even that. I was motivated to get the promotion, but I wasn't motivated to do anything else. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, because every day blends into the next, it's like, it's hard to find reason to not put things off to the next day. Because it's like, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? Because like at this point it feels like you have infinite time, because you don't have school until August for basically everyone, and we haven't had school since March, and even the school we did have was online school that was very hands-off. AP tests were very diminished, Although I still had some interesting experiences with those. I took 7 AP tests, 3 of which were on the same day, which was quite an interesting experience. It was an exhausting day. But it's like every day has kind of blended in. Like, it's easy to forget what day of the week it is. When you're at school, it's easy to keep track of what day it is because you keep thinking, oh, it's like this many days until Friday, this many days until the weekend. But now every day is the weekend. So it's like every day is basically feels the same. It's like, why put off today what you can do, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? Squidward says, as the most important rule of the Krusty Krab, and then I love that Mr. Krabs rebuts him saying, what is today but yesterday's tomorrow? Which is something I guess I really should think of more often, and when I think, yeah, I can just do this tomorrow. It's like, I said that yesterday. I'm just not getting anything done. Because I haven't gotten very much extra done. Like, I already mentioned that I finished watching through all the Pixar movies, and I showed my rankings in one of my Mega Man Rock and Roll videos, so check that out if you want to see where I rank your favorite Pixar movies. I don't know. Reading through Harry Potter. I've been watching some Marvel movies. Those are good. Not much in the name of... I guess this has still been prevalent, but it's like I'm finally getting this done, so I can finally feel like I've accomplished something. I guess also the Lincolnshire opposing percussion enhancements are a pretty major project. I'm 4/6 of the way through it, or 2/3, I guess, because I think I released Movement 4 like 2 days ago, and it was a fun one to work on. The Brisk Young Sailor is it's really short, but it's like fun, and it's the first time I actually added snare to any of the movements, which was a process because adding like the 16th notes and stuff to the score was more challenging than I thought it would be, but also barely doable because I was worried it wouldn't be doable. Because the way I do those videos is like I said in Microsoft Paint, and basically everything I add, I copy paste from other parts of the score, and then just fiddle with the colors to make it look like it was always there, which sometimes I'm good at, sometimes it doesn't look very good. And for the snare, I had to have 16th notes with bars, but there's only one. I think there's only one instance I could find of 16th notes that are level with each other, and that was in Movement 3, when trumpets are playing, doing the thing where they go, where they're just supposed to tongue as fast as they possibly can. And there's one part where it's represented with 30-second notes, so I could take those 30-second notes that were in line with each other and remove the third bar and make them 16th notes on the snare part. So that was kind of fun to figure out that I could do, just in general, and it's like problem solving, and it looks pretty good, I guess. I mean, it's not gonna look perfect because I'm not a professional like photo editor or anything, but it's like I'm learning. I'm bad with like art stuff in general, but like I guess you can always learn. I really like where I hid this item, and some of my beta testers really like it too, because it's like a nice little underwater cove in this room. Because like you wonder to yourself, why is there water in like that tiny pocket of the room? Some people might write it off, it's like, oh, it's just an aesthetic choice, or some people might think, oh, that's suspicious, and then they find it and there's like this cool little alcove with a missile in it. And I like it. I think I submitted this room for Room of the Month. I don't think I won. I've won Room of the Month a single time, and that was, I think it was only once, and I think it was against Moore, because we were the only 2 people who submitted a room. And I don't even remember which room it was that won, but because it won Room of the Month, it got into the voting for Room of the Year, and I think I got 0 votes for Room of the Year. But I'm fine with that because I don't think I deserve Room of the Year because I'm not the best with, like I'm getting better at the room design, but I don't have any of like the flashy custom graphics that other people have, and some people on MetCons make absolutely beautiful rooms. And like I can't live up to that, and I accept that, so I'm completely fine with that. Like sometimes it's annoying. It's like, why are you so good at that? Why can't I be so good at that? But then you're like, you know, it looks really cool. I don't have to be able to do that because like there's other things that I'm good at that maybe they're good at too, maybe they're not. No one's best at everything, but everyone's good at something, I guess. And it's like graphic design just isn't my forte, but it's still good to learn different skills, I guess. I have not been talking about this hack at all. I guess I've just been traversing through it, and you can make your own judgments as you may. An ambush room. Uh-oh. The room didn't unlock. Oh no. I really should have checked this beforehand. So the thing is that what sometimes happens when I'm editing this hack is that when I put it through, I think it's when I put it in Smart, is that sometimes the room enemy kill requirement changes to 255. And it's so stupid, but it's so annoying to deal with because there's no indication until you've actually played through the hack. And as you can see, this door is locked. Okay. I'll be back. Dang it. I'll just cut back here and I'll fix the hack.
You